Oh man, these Texas Longhorns. Boy, I tell you, sports can really get to you. Before I start this video, as always, hook 'em. My horns will always be up no matter what happens with my team because I am a loyal fan. But this game, I've always said I would rather lose in a blowout than lose like this. I hate losing in overtime. I hate losing from a walk-off field goal or a walk-off touchdown. Like, I would rather be dominated and just lose and know that you have no chance to win, because if you lose that way, you don't go back and think about all the reasons of why you should have won and all the things you could have done right and all these different things. The truth of the matter is Texas dominated the first half of that football game, but had no points to show for it. And you cannot win football games kicking field goals. And so Texas gave that game away, and that's unfortunate. I also think that for a Texas fan, some of the things that we thought were fixed are actually not fixed, and it's just a problem. The other thing that could be true too is Georgia could just be our kryptonite. Like, we just could not, we just don't match up well with Georgia. Like, the things that we do well, Georgia also does well. The things that we don't do well, Georgia does well and can complement those things. So it's like, we just don't match up well with Georgia. That's just what it is. And it just, like, there's nothing you can say. It's like boxing, right? Like, sometimes you can't beat a certain boxer. In the NFL, Lamar Jackson struggles to beat Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow struggles to beat Lamar Jackson. Like, there's so many different things, and sometimes teams just match up well with other teams. And I think Georgia just might match up well with Texas. And it just kind of is what it is. But we should have won this game. It's very disappointing that we didn't win this game because of the things that happened that caused us to not win this game. And so I am going to talk about those things on the other side of this video, because that is what I do on this channel. I want to say though, if you are a football fan, like somebody that actually likes football, that likes watching all the intricacies of football and likes watching coaching, and like not somebody that likes just watch highlights, not somebody that just wants to win a parlay, not somebody that just watches fantasy football, not somebody that plays video games and think that you understand the game of football. I'm talking about those real hardcore football fans that will watch anybody play football and that will try to dissect all different things. You enjoyed this game because ultimately it was a good football game. Just didn't happen to end the way I wanted it to end, but it was still a good football game. And the other thing about this loss is there's a multitude of reasons why Texas lost. I know a lot of people just want to are quick to blame Quinn Ewers. It's Quinn's fault, Quinn's fault, Quinn's fault. My thing is this. Quinn isn't the reason that we lost, but he's also not the reason that we won. I mean, obviously we didn't win, but it's not all his doing. First and foremost, I don't understand how a backup quarterback is coming into the game, but you're not ready to stop him from scrambling. That's weird to me. So Texas gives up a touchdown coming out of halftime. We all knew Carson Beck wasn't coming back into the game. So what did you all talk about going into halftime? The other issue with this Texas team, it has been now for what seems like 3 or 4 weeks, is third quarter stuff. I don't know what they're saying when they go into the locker room, but whoever's talking in the locker room needs to stop talking because it's not working. It hasn't been working actually for what seems like a month. So the halftime, whatever we're doing in there, we need to stop that. That's not working. So that's also an issue. That also is not Quinn's fault because the defense came out unprepared, which is not like our defense. So we want to blame Ewers for everything, but everything isn't Ewers' fault. The other thing is, I don't understand how we did not have our special teams ready to defend a faked punt when their punter went out. It's like, there's so many different things. Again, that's not Quinn's fault either. So yes, you can blame Ewers for whatever you want to blame him for, but there's things that our defense didn't do well. There's things that are sticking with me that I distinctively remember that happened in this game that I'm going to call out. So everyone has a little piece of the pie. It's not one person's fault as to why we lost this game. So what I'm going to do is I am going to list the 7 things that I am just thinking about that are on my mind that I cannot let go of now that this game has been over for a few hours. The first thing is you can't miss field goals. You cannot miss that many field goals. That is unfortunate. In the same way that you can't miss field goals, you can't only score field goals. Only the Pittsburgh Steelers can win games and only kick field goals. Seriously though, you cannot miss that many field goals. Our field goal kicker has been an issue for a while now, and it is extremely frustrating that the University of Texas does not have a freaking field goal kicker that can kick field goals. That is unacceptable. So you cannot miss field goals, and you cannot continue to settle for field goals in a championship game. You have to score points. You have to be complimentary to this defense. This defense is doing their job. This defense is getting 3 and outs. This defense is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you can't score touchdowns. That is unacceptable. The second thing that's been on my mind that I cannot let go of is the battle of the trenches. This Texas offensive line has been dominated by Georgia's defensive line now twice. And honestly, I might say that our defensive line hasn't looked great against Georgia's offensive line, but that isn't the issue. The issue is our offensive line, for whatever reason, has issues with Georgia. Like I said before, it could just be matchups. We could just not be ready to compete with their defensive line. That could be our weakness right now. Maybe we're still not as good as we need to be in the trenches. If that's the answer to this, cool. I'll accept that Texas needs to get better in the trenches. I can accept that. But right now, Texas gets dominated by Georgia line. This is now the second time we've played them, and I believe they have the same amount of sacks last time as they did this time. I didn't even check it because it's on my mind. I don't even need to check it. I can almost guarantee that it's pretty freaking close because I've watched both of these games, and I'm telling you, our offensive line does not do good against, I'm pulling my hair, our offensive line does not do good against Georgia's defensive line, and I don't even know what to say about that, but that is a problem. Another issue is we are undisciplined. We are an undisciplined football team. I don't understand how you can false start. I don't understand how you can continuously false start. We've been through this before. This is the 13th game of the season and you're still false starting. I don't understand that. Somebody has to make it make sense. Also, the penalties. The penalties are a big problem. I do not understand why we have so many penalties. Now, you can argue that there's at least 3 to 4 calls that the refs missed against Georgia. I agree with that. That was not a roughing the passer call on Carson Beck. Also, they missed at least 2 roughing the passer calls on Ewers. They missed a holding call. They missed some things. I got it. Cool. They missed calls. If we're like, let's be honest. As a Texas fan, I wasn't expecting us to go in there and get any calls. But my issue is you can't false start. A false starting penalty is easy to call. You need to make sure that you don't false start. The other thing is we need to make sure that we don't line up offsides. Like, I don't understand why this is so hard for us to not do, but we continuously do it and we've been doing it all year. So it's sticking with me. It's sticking in my brain and I can't let it go. The other thing I don't particularly love is Sark's play calling. And this is where it gets tricky because I don't know if it's Sark's play calling that I don't like or if he knows that there's limitations with Ewers and so it's impacting the way he calls plays. The play caller I saw at Alabama and the things that I thought Sark was going to bring to this Texas offense, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's because Isaiah Bond is injured or whatever he's doing. I don't know what's going on. This offense has seemed discombobulated for what seems like a month now. And I've come on camera and I've said it over and over and over and over. People keep telling me I'm overreacting. It's not the offense. It's this, it's that. Something is wrong. It's either our offense is wrong or something's off or Sark is seeing something in practice that when he comes to the games, it makes him timid. He's seeing terrible offensive displayed things in practice. I don't know, but I don't love Sark's play calling. I don't understand why we always have to go for touchdowns and we don't just try to get first down sometimes. The last 4 possessions of this game, I did not like Sark's play calling. I was not a fan of it. I don't understand why we continue to only target Ryan Wingo. I get that's not the play call. That might actually be what Ewers is seeing. I don't understand. Moore is getting us down the field. We get down the field. All of a sudden, now we're only targeting Ryan Wingo. Like, I don't know what's going on. The run game wasn't working. Sark continued to call run play. So I am not sure what is going on in Sark's mind. I'm not sure what the hell that was, but he did it. And I didn't love it. And so I'm thinking about it. And so it's still here. The other thing is just missed opportunities. There were 3 fumbles, I feel like, that we didn't recover. That was an issue. I felt like when we got the ball from Beck at before halftime, could we have scored there? I don't know. I don't watch the all 22, so I couldn't see the field. It looked like we were just staying on one sideline, so I don't know. So that was a thing. So then the ball hit the ground 3 times and Texas could not go recover the football. So again, missed opportunities. Another missed opportunity is we get an interception execution, and the guy does not turn around to block his guy, which could have been a pick six from Jahdae Barron. It didn't happen. Reason why it didn't happen? Undisciplined. We have a guy on the football field that sees his guy catch the ball, but does not turn around immediately and start blocking the guy that's there so the guy can run the ball back. So again, that is a missed opportunity. But I think everybody has a piece of the pie to play when things don't work the way they're supposed to work because somebody didn't do their job. We lacked execution in that way. And when you lack execution, depending on what side of the fence you fall on, some of you will say execution is the player's job. It's up to the players to go out there and execute. It's also up to the coaches to get the players ready to execute. Example of this, if you tell me that the interception is not the coach's fault because the player should have known to turn around and start blocking, great. So who's responsible for the fake punt? Because everybody was turned around to defend the punt and nobody was watching the actual what was happening in the play. So are we going to say that the coaches told them they were going to fake it, but nobody turned to look for the fake? Again, I don't really know whose issue that is. Missed opportunities are the reason why we lost this game. So I don't know who to blame. I want to sit here and be like, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. I like to understand why. I ask questions. I'm a question asker. And when I ask the questions, I want to understand the answer why. But because of this game and because we only lost on the last drive in overtime, I won't really be able to know the answers to these questions. So that's why this loss is just annoying and frustrating. It just is what it is. It's super frustrating. The last thing I will say and I will whine about here in this video is why didn't Sark bring in Arch Manning to do anything on offense? I don't understand how Sark sat and watched Jalen Milroe run all over this Georgia team, how you watch Jackson Dart escape out of the pocket and run around and evade things, and how he watched Georgia Tech play this Georgia team, and Steve Sarkisian did not think, well, let me bring in Arch and let me change up some things. I don't understand what he's thinking. I don't understand why we're not seeing more Arch Manning. I positively do not understand why we are not seeing more Arch Manning. What is the point? What is the point of having his skill set if you're not going to use it? I don't understand this. I need somebody to tell me why he is not using Arch Manning to our advantage. We just have him over there watching the football game. For what? For what? Your offense now has stalled in 4 games in the third quarter, and your answer is not to change it up on offense. I don't get that. That to me is bad coaching. It is bad coaching when you see that your team is struggling on offense and you do nothing about it. It's terrible. I hate it. It is bad coaching, and I'll get off the soapbox. So having whined and complained about all of this stuff, the only thing I can do is move forward, right? The only thing I can do is to see what happens next. So I get to see what this playoff committee is going to do. I get to see what seed we are. I get to see who we're going to host at home, and I just have to march forward. That is what I have to do. But like I've said, what it seems like almost every week, I am worried about this offense. I believe this offense is a liability, and I believe this offense is a liability, and I believe Ewers has half of it to play, and I believe Steve Sarkisian has the other half to play, because when this offense stalls, Steve Sarkisian does nothing, and he has now seen it happen for 4 games. I remember it happening against Arkansas. I remember it happening against Kentucky. I remember it happening against A&M, and it's now showing up again against Georgia. And if I continue to go back, I am going to be very pissed off if I find that we also stalled. That lets me know that coming out at halftime, something is not right, and it continues to happen. So Sark, you're getting paid a lot of money to figure out why in the third quarter your team is bad. Why your offense in the third quarter is bad. Steve Sarkisian, your job is to figure out why your offense in the third quarter is bad. And you have a quarterback on the sideline that can come in and do something, but you're choosing not to play him. So we need to understand, you need to figure out why this is happening. So I hope when we play the next game, in this playoff game, assuming the committee puts us in, because there's no reason for them not to put us in, we have to hope in this playoff game that we figure out what the hell is wrong with us in the third quarter so that we can put together a team and play offense. We need to play offense. This offense is a liability. I don't know how much I have to say it. This offense is a liability, and I will not let it go. I will continue to say it because it is, and it's true. It just is what it is at this point. So I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to just say, if you have any comments, if you think I'm totally getting this wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But I'm going to tell you that this Texas team cannot take that offense into the playoffs. And when I say that offense, we have now seen this offense in what seems like for a month or maybe a little longer. This offense is not playing good football right now. I don't know why. I don't know what needs to happen, but something needs to happen because this ain't it. And I don't want to see it anymore. I want to see touchdowns. I want to see us scoring touchdowns. I need this offensive line to figure themselves out too, because I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. We lost the game. We lost the SEC championship game. And now we need to see where we are in the playoffs so that we can march on and play another game so I can continue to whine and complain for the rest of the season. Anyways, it just is what it is at this point. As always, hook 'em. I'll see you in my next video.